It's 1:48. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And we'll begin with the roll call of commissioners. Oh, geez. Commissioner Fair,
Present.
Commissioner Ponce, Commissioner Rubin.
Present.
All right, and I am here. We'll begin, and we have a quorum. We'll begin with I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes from our December 5th, 2024 meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Commissioner Fair, do we have a second? Second, Commissioner Ponce. Commissioner Rubin?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm a yes. Motion carries unanimously, and the minutes will be posted on our website. There are 4 projects on the agenda for today's meeting. Staff to the commission will present the project on the agenda and state their recommendation. Following the staff presentation, the committee will have an opportunity to ask questions of the staff. The applicant may then make a statement. Following the applicant's statements, members of the public may make their statements. Like anyone other than the applicant wishing to make a statement on the item on today's agenda, to complete a public comment card and give the card to a member of the staff. Comment cards are available at the door. As a courtesy to other individuals wishing to offer comments, we ask that members of the general public limit your statements to 3 minutes or less. When the time comes for public comment on the item on the agenda, I will call the names up from the cards and ask you to make your statement. Please state your name, the interest and organization or company you represent, if any. And that brings us to our first project, which is 10324 South Longwood in the 19th Ward, Longwood Drive District. And it is a continued review of the proposed modification of existing rear addition constructed without a permit. And Emily Barton has the staff report.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. So the subject property is located mid-block along Longwood Drive in the Beverly community area. The existing frame home features a substantial front yard with a setback of approximately 130 feet from the front property line. In mid-2022, the owners of the property began construction on an addition to the rear of the historic house without a permit. To address the issue, in 2023, the owner proposed to demolish the rear addition in its entirety and construct a new addition wholly behind the historic home, and the proposed plans were conditionally approved by the committee. Since that review, the owners did not proceed with the project, and the building is now for sale as is. A potential new purchaser is under contract to buy the building and is in the due diligence period. The contract purchaser and his architect have submitted a proposal that would modify the constructed addition to bring the project into compliance with the Commission's guidelines and standards. So this here you can see is the view from the street of the addition behind the building, looking through the wide southern side yard and driveway. As you can see, the addition on the south elevation is entirely set in from the exterior sidewalls of the historic house and are therefore in compliance with the Commission standards as is constructed. The north side of the rear addition does project past the historic north elevation and therefore becomes visible from the street. Per the contract purchaser, the modification they are proposing, rather than the complete demolition of the constructed addition, would make the project financially viable for him to purchase and rehabilitate the historic building that has been sitting vacant for years. The most visible part of the addition is the easternmost portion of the second floor is proposed to be demolished. In plan, the section to be removed measures approximately 8 feet by 24 feet. With this modification, the only part of the new side addition to project beyond the width of the historic house will be set back over 50 feet from the front facade and nearly 200 feet from the front lot line. Because of this significant distance from the public rights of way and the substantial setback of the new construction from the front of the house, staff recommend that the committee find the proposed modified addition to be minimally visible and not an adverse effect to the building and district. As reviewed in 2023, the remainder of the rehabilitation scope is the same, with the vinyl windows and non-historic siding proposed to be removed and replaced. That said, staff recommendations are as follows. As proposed, the existing addition is to be modified so the eastern 8 by 24 foot section of the second floor on the north elevation is to be removed. Replacement window details shall be submitted with the permit application. As proposed, non-historic siding shall be removed from all elevations of the existing building. Upon removal of the non-historic siding, historic preservation staff shall be notified and make a site visit to verify if any historic wood siding remains, to review its condition, and to determine if it can be retained and repaired. If any historic details are uncovered during this time, they should be documented and used to further inform the design and the permit drawings. If the historic wood siding can be repaired, select areas of deterioration are to be replaced in kind with wood clapboard to match design, lap exposure, profile dimensions, and finish of the existing historic siding. If the siding is in disrepair and can't be repaired, new wood clapboard siding shall be installed on the front elevation and any highly visible portions of the side elevations of the original building. Per the Commission's wood siding repair and replacement policy, smooth face fiber cement siding may be installed on the new addition portion of the building. And finally, just that material samples of the siding and foundation masonry shall be submitted with the permit application. So Alderman O'Shea is supportive of this project, and I believe he's here to make a statement. We also have the project architect if you have any questions for her or me.
All right. Thank you so much, Emily. Commissioners, any questions for Emily or staff before we hear from the ownership team? Seeing none, let's hear from the project architect.
Hi, my name
Hi.
is Gina DiMaria. This has been a stressful project, to say the least. I was working originally with the previous owner who went rogue and decided to just build what they wanted to. So, and then I was working with them to try to get it back with the commission's recommendations, which was 2 years ago. And they have since sold a house, and now I'm working with a new owner who is very eager to bring this back to life, to give it, to keep the historical significance and to minimize the massing of the addition. And I feel like he really has, he's supposed to be here. I think he's running behind, but and I feel very confident that he wants to do the right thing, so to speak. And I'm going to try to help him do that.
Great. No, thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions for the architect? No, thank you. And the alderman is here. Would you like to make a statement?
That be working. Good afternoon. First and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to come in and speak. This beautiful historic home was built in 1887. The Layton family, which were very successful real estate agents in the Beverly community 130 some odd years ago, built it. Most recently, as I was growing up in the community, the Boyd family owned this home 37 years. I've had the Boyd family come to my office and ask me, what am I doing to save their beautiful home? Ms. DiMaria gave you a little bit of history of what's going on the past couple of years, to be candid, an utter disaster. Having said that, the gentleman who was interested in purchasing in negotiations, Mr. Drapatsky has built other homes, refurbished other homes on Longwood Drive in my community. I have a comfort level with him. I believe him to be a man of his word. He has been in my interactions in the past. I'm very confident that under the guidance of Ms. DiMaria and Mr. Drapatsky, we can bring this home back to its original beauty, back to as close to 1887 as we can. Just asking your consideration and to assure you, I will be involved moving forward to make sure that this is done correctly. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your statement. Thank you for that, Alderman. Commissioners, any questions for? Seeing none. I think that moves us to the public comment portion of this. Thank you very much. And we have one person that signed up to speak, Mr. Blakemore.
I think it's very important to come to this body to get permission to change this historical building. It's very important. And those who decide to make changes on their own, it should be some negative repercussions, they should be able to pay. Pay or do some prison time. What? That's right. Who authorized this man to do this? And then sometimes you can say, I didn't know about it. All right, well, you're ignorant to the fact, but we have to stop this. Where people going, buying these historical buildings, houses, and decide to make changes on their own. So it's very, very, thank you, young lady. It's very important to have Mr. Blakemore present. I was down in Fort Worth, Texas, and I went to one of their council meetings dealing with historical. Somebody put some windows in that wasn't historical. They made them take them out and fine them. So that's to show that you are very efficient and effective and doing God's work when it comes to these historical buildings. Whoever changes, make them pay. Make them pay financially and have some other type of policy. Put them in jail. They would stop this nonsense. Changing a historical, but they supposed, you got to educate them and inform them and let you, if he didn't know, it's because maybe you didn't teach him, maybe you didn't, you all here. Then let them know. You need to advertise. For historical buildings, you have to come to this body to change them. And thank you again, sir, for letting me speak. Whenever the public come here, you are public servant, and you serve the public. I don't serve you. So since I'm here, that was very wise for you to acknowledge me. And when it comes up to other buildings that's coming up here, after they make their presentation and anybody from the public would like to make a comment, you let them make it. Make us feel comfortable here in our government. And thank you, young lady, for bringing me this mic. Where's this nice lady who brought me? Thank you. That's right. I got the right to be here.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Blakemore. That's actually the end of our public comment. Commissioners would like to call on final discussion points on this item.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just have a quick comment. I think making the best of what was a unfortunate situation. I'm in agreement with the portion of the building that's marked for demolition. I think it gives a historic facade and that main vantage point enough breathing room to kind of stand proud and still allow the rest of the expansion to have place. I think otherwise the notes kind of carried over from when we reviewed this previously with the intent of matching, the siding. So I'm in support of it and would move for approval.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Fair. Yeah, I just also want to say, obviously we know how serious you all are taking it. The alderman's here speaking on this. It's wonderful to see your commitment to this. And, I think it's great that Ms. DeMaria, that you're still involved in the project. I'm sure you have an intimate
Yes.
understanding of the house. So with that, any other final points, commissioners?
Took the words out of my mouth. I really appreciate the commitment, knowing what you've been through on this project and knowing the long history of families who've lived here and really being on it. It was a very important statement to make. So thank you both for sticking it out.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Rubin. If there's no further discussion, I'd like to request a motion to adopt the staff recommendation for the project. So moved. Commissioner Ponce, in a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Fair. Commissioner Rubin.
Yes.
This is a yes, and I'm a yes, and the motion carries unanimously. Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next project, item number 2, 1133 to 1155 West Fulton Market, the 27th Ward, Fulton Randolph Market District. Proposed replacement of 4 bays of storefronts along Fulton Market and the enlarging of select masonry openings along May Street. And Emily Barton has the staff report again. Thanks, Emily.
I sure do. Okay, great. So the subject property is located on Fulton Market between May Street and Racine Avenue. The property was rehabilitated in 2019 and PRC approved the scope, including the replacement of the 2 bays of original storefront doors that remained. The other 2 bays had been previously modified, and all 4 bays were replaced to match the historic. The tenant space on the first floor has remained vacant since the rehab finished, and the owner of the building and the new tenant are proposing to replace the existing storefronts and lower select windows on the Mays Street elevation to better accommodate the retail tenant needs. So here you can see at the top shows the original doors condition back in 2018. Only 2 of the bays had the original doors left. And they were highly deteriorated, which is why, PRC allowed for replacement. And it matched the operable doors with very minimal glazing. The wood bifold doors that are there now have air gaps between the panels that create climatic, transparency, and security issues for tenants. So in order to make the space more accommodating for retail, the 2019 storefronts are proposed to be removed and replaced with new storefronts, similar to the original, but fixed and with larger windows. The existing transom windows are proposed to remain. The new storefront design is still reminiscent of the original doors and compatible with the rest of the building and district, and staff recommend approval as proposed. Window and storefront details should be submitted with the permit application. And then the 8 windows along the ground floor of the May Street elevation have sills that are 8 foot 10 inches high to accommodate additional retail tenants that face this side of the street. The applicant is proposing to lower the sills of 4 of these windows down to 4 feet above grade, aligning with the limestone banding. The new windows are proposed to be aluminum clad wood, matching the profiles of the existing windows. While changing masonry openings on street-facing elevations is usually not recommended, in this case, no decorative features will be removed. The new window sizes and sill heights will also match the other elevations, and staff recommend approval as proposed.
All right, thank you, Emily. Questions for Emily before we hear from the applicant? Commissioner, seeing none, let's hear from the project representative, Scott Dresden, is it? Good afternoon.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you very much for seeing us. We just want to keep the city and the historic community looking exactly the same. The windows on this side we're doing match the exact opposite side of the building. We are going to have retail stores in the back and in the front, separate boutiques, shall we say. And this is so necessary for the side, just so that people can walk up and let's face it, that part of our community is a walking community now, and it's really coming alive, and we would like it to be more alive. We are going to be the first type of stores that are in this area like this, and we're really trying hard to keep it all in the same looks and feel as what it was.
All right, well, thank you very much for your statement. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant? All right, seeing none, thank you. Public comment. We have one, Mr. Blakemore has signed up to speak. Mr. Blakemore.
Thank you. I just think that you are doing a very good job here, but you're talking to the choir. You need to have some campaign in the schools, teaching our young people about our treasures, our historical treasures. Now, it's unlawful, it's illegal to change the exterior or the interior until you come to this body. You're powerful people here. And you must use your power to educate and inform and enlighten the greater community. Because some people, when they buy something that's historical, maybe they're not aware. So you got a big job and to educate, and especially when it comes to the Black community. But every time I come here, I see a white folks packed here. Somebody have to educate our people because they got many historical treasures in our neighborhoods. And some of them just go and change a window or something, and they don't know that that's a historical building. And also, I'm going to be a little critical. You used to have these magazines. These magazines. You're not doing that now. You used to have them, these folders that you can flip over and will give them to us. What happened to that? You had that. You had like a magazine, a book. It would show the historical sites and all, and you can see it. So I think you're trying to save money. This is not the way to save money. Because I was looking for, I use that as my historical book. I take it and then I look at it and read it and I pass it on. So you all have, you got a big job to do, sir. Because these historical, what have happened since COVID-19, I'm going to keep quiet. You got so many historical buildings on the Gold Coast, down here on LaSalle. So what are you going to do with them? They empty. Now you're trying to make them into affordable housing. Some things you can't make over because the elevators, they got to have so much lighting in these buildings for a person to live. You don't want them to live in a shoebox with no lights or nothing. So don't let big business bully you. Don't let them bully you here because they want to get a resource and money for their investment, and now they run into the city. So don't let them bully you. Thank you very much for acknowledging and answer. You don't have to answer this question publicly. You remember those magazines, magazines? Oh, wait a minute, young lady. Do you know what I'm talking about? So, well, please give them back. All right, I'm not getting it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Blakemore. That's the end of our public comments period. And thank you. If there's any other discussion items, commissioners, yes, Commissioner Fair. Oh,
I'd be okay with making a motion though for moving forward with the recommendations as noted.
all right. Mr. Fair has, Commissioner Fair has made a motion. With a second. Second, Commissioner Ponce.
Aye.
Commissioner Rubin, aye, and I'm an aye, and the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Good luck. All right, we're going to item number 3, 3248 South Martin Luther King Drive, the 4th Ward. Alderman Robinson, Calumet Giles, Prairie District.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Proposed modifications of previously conditionally approved new construction of 14 masonry townhouses facing Calumet Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive. And Emily Barton has a presentation.
Thank you. The subject lot is located between Calumet and Martin Luther King Drive Junior Drive to the east and west, and 33rd Street to the south. While originally home to a series of townhouses, the lot has been vacant for decades and used as parking. You may remember in January of 2023, the Permit Review Committee reviewed and approved a proposal to build 14 new single-family townhouses on the site. The project as proposed was not built, and now a permit application has been submitted for a modified proposal that requires your re-review. So the site plan and footprints of the development have not changed at all from the 2023 approval. They still have street-facing elevations on Calumet and King Drive, with an existing curb cut being utilized along East 33rd. The proposed townhouses are still 2 separate massings with 7 attached units facing Calumet and 7 facing King Drive. As in the original proposal, the buildings are proposed to be 146 feet long, with each unit approximately 21 foot 7 inches wide. The 2 buildings are still 38 feet 8 inches deep, separated by a 26-foot wide driveway used to access each unit's attached, what is now a 1-car garage. As before, each unit features a raised entry compatible with other stoop heights throughout the district. So the main difference between the 2023 conditionally approved project and the new proposed buildings is the height. The previous buildings were proposed to each be 37 foot 6 inches tall with a rooftop access doghouse, an additional 4 feet 2 inches above the parapet. This new proposal adds a third floor to the unit and lowers the basement down. So it adds 5 feet to the height for approximately 42 feet 6 inches, with the doghouse still an additional 4 feet 7 inches tall. Because the lot is isolated on the block and not immediately adjacent to other residential buildings, the context has been expanded to include other blocks within the district. Based on the neighborhood context provided by the applicant, this new height is still well within the range of historic building heights found in the district. And furthermore, the commission has previously approved a similar 3.5-story residence in the district that was 44 feet in height. So based on the neighborhood context and similar previous approvals, staff recommends the new height is still appropriate for the district. There are a number of differences between the original proposal and the new design. Aesthetically, a pressed metal cornice caps the building still. With matching protruding metal bays, both characteristic of the area. These bays now vary from 1-story to 2-story and differ from townhouse to townhouse. They feature 3 main designs with variations making each unit slightly different. The different units feature differently shaped bays, different door surrounds, and different window configurations to create visual interest. The predominant materials proposed are brick and cast stone. 2 different colors of brick, brown and red, are proposed, and 1 color of cast stone, but samples have not yet been submitted. The 3 different cladding materials alternate, so no 2 materials are next to each other. And because there are only 7 units per street elevation, this gives enough variation so there are no exact repeats. Staff recommends that the color of the mortar shall match the masonry color, and when selected, final material samples should be submitted with the permit application along with the other conditions listed. The GAPCO has provided a letter of support, which I placed with your agenda at your spot. And then just this morning, the Near South Planning Board also gave tentative support pending full board approval of the plans.
All right.
And so I am here if you have any questions, and the architect is also here.
Commissioner, any questions for Emily or?
Just a quick clarification, just the rendering, I think this is the 2023. So this isn't showing the additional.
No, this is the additional floor.
Oh, this is the additional. Okay.
Yeah. So it's very similar.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's all I had.
Let's hear from the architect. You want to make a statement?
Hello, John Hanna here. I am so lucky. New alderman, new owner, and we finally got a 3-story townhouse, which is what I thought we should have originally had on this job. I think this is perfect.
All right. Thank you. Commissioners, comments? All right. Very good. Thank you.
You know, I never thought we would get on this January 9th agenda, and Emily did a great job.
Thank you, Emily.
I'm so happy. Thank you.
All right. I mean, I think, you disguised the extra floor well,
Yeah.
and so, you guys have done a good job in that regard.
Yeah.
So thank you. And all the drawings are helpful. So, all right. Commissioners, any other questions before we go to public comment? All right. Thank you, Mr. Hanna. And we'll go to public comment. We have one person signed up to speak, Mr. George Blakemore.
Thank you very much. I would be expecting to see the architecture is here. And he said, we got a new alderman. Well, why is it that the new alderman is not present? However, that area over there is changing. The demographic there, the racial makeup. And when you add something, I would like to, like a puzzle. If you had the old buildings here, that's already that's built and just place this right where we can see both. I know you're showing the new, but also show the old, and we will be able to make a decision, an intelligent decision to say that it fits in. You know, common sense is not coming anymore. If I could see the old neighborhood and how you have extended taller up here, and when I go down King Drive, I see these historical buildings right next. I see the model, and they don't fit in. They don't fit in. Maybe I don't fit in. Being the only black here today, out here, maybe I don't fit in. So again, it's very important to have a concerned citizen. I'm getting an education here. On-job education. When I come to city council and come to these various committee meetings, I'm looking, I'm watching, I'm learning. So again, it's very important to have the public comment period. You had the architect, he's happy about it. He made money. But I would like to see a picture of the old townhouses, the old neighborhood, and the new, and compare the two. And thank you also, sir, for allowing always the public. Remember, you serve the public and you're a public servant. And sometimes the public might make you uncomfortable. But they have to come and show up and speak up. Otherwise, the bureaucrats will run the system and they'll run it down. Thank you. All right, Mr. Blakemore.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blakemore. That is the end of our public comment. No one else has signed up to speak. I'd like to, if there's any further, is there any further discussion, commissioners? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to request a motion to adopt the staff recommendation.
So moved.
So moved, Commissioner Rubin, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded, Commissioner Fair and Commissioner Ponce. Is a yes, and I'm a yes, and the motion carries unanimously. So thank you. Our fourth item on the agenda, 155 North Carpenter, the 27th Ward, Fulton Randolph Market District. The proposed installation of new halo lit 24-foot by 3'4" sign on the east parapet. And Tyler Taylor has this presentation.
Good
Hi, Tyler.
afternoon. The 6-story office building at 155 North Carpenter is a non-contributing building located in the Fulton Randolph Market District at the northeast corner of West Randolph and North Carpenter Street, with a public alley to the north and an adjacent building to the east. An application has been received for a sign to be mounted on the parapet, which requires review by this committee as it is proposed to be mounted more than 24 feet above grade. The building itself, as shown in the rendering at top left, was approved by this committee in 2020. It is now substantially complete, and the first tenants are in the process of building out suites. Live Nation will be a primary tenant and has applied for a large sign to be mounted on the east-facing parapet identified with the green arrow labeled A in the site plan at top right. The sign is a version of the Live Nation logo, measuring 80 square feet and proposed to be mounted 64 feet and 4 inches above grade. It faces east, perpendicular to Randolph, rather than being located on the Randolph frontage as shown in the rendering at bottom left. This is consistent with prior approvals for parapet signs in this district, including signs for Google, approved in 2016, and Vequity, approved in 2020, both visible looking west down Fulton Market in the image at bottom right. The proposed sign is comprised of halo-lit black and red letters illuminated by LEDs. Each letter is 30 inches in height and 2 inches thick, mounted 1.5 inches in front of an opaque white backer panel. The backer panel is 24 feet in width and 3 foot 4 inches in height, and 3 inches thick, and will not be illuminated. Only the letters will be illuminated as shown in the nighttime rendering at right. The letters and panel are proposed to be mounted to a series of 6 steel arms, each of which would be fastened to the back of the parapet. The building is non-contributing but does feature decorative brickwork at its parapet. Although the brackets add some visual clutter, staff recommends that they will allow the sign to be mounted without leaving visible holes in the brick. Staff recommends approval with these conditions. The sign illumination shall be dimmable, and a note confirming this shall be added to the permit drawings. And as proposed, all electrical components, including conduit and transformer boxes, shall be concealed. Alderman Burnett and the West Loop Community Organization have both reviewed the proposal and are both in support. Frank Lambert, the sign expediter managing the permit process for the applicant, is here and available to answer your questions.
Right. Thank you, Tyler. Any questions for Tyler before we go to the applicant? Seeing none, let's hear from the project expediter, Frank Lambert.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I don't have any further comments, but Reggie never got back to me, so I guess you talked to Reggie over it.
I did.
Oh, good,
yes.
perfect. So, because we have the council order
Yeah.
portion, so I have no additional comments from Tyler's presentation.
Right. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant?
I have one question. Looking at the Google and the Vequity signage down the block, I noticed that those are both just white letters directly onto the building. This one is red and black on a white black background. Looks a little bit more prominent and maybe kind of I don't know, a little bit boxier, a little bit more bumper sticker like. Why
Yeah.
going with the white background as opposed to something like the Google and the Vequity signs nearby?
I believe it was an access issue behind the wall for back wiring.
Okay.
That probably is open behind that parapet for Google, whereas we're not. So we have one whip going through opposed to multiple.
Okay.
I can add to that that was our initial comment, was to eliminate the backer panel. The applicant, or specifically the sign contractor, said that, I mean, it's part of the branding. It's like part of the Live Nation logo. But it's also, if we go to the detail here, the on the other side of this parapet is a roof deck, and the intent is for the electrical components to be not accessible. Typically, they'd be on the other side of the wall or the other side of the parapet, but they didn't want occupants of the roof deck to be able to tamper with them. There's also a precedent for in 2014, the committee approved a sign with a backer panel for a building in the Cermak Bridge district. So it not in this district specifically, but there is a precedent for it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler. Any other questions, commissioners? Seeing none, thank you. I think we can move to public comment now, and we have one person signed up to speak, Mr. George Blakemore.
What look like Times Square, all lit up. But to my Facebook friends, you're getting an education and how government works, are not working in the interest of the people. The Alderman is not present. It's the Fulton market. It's booming over there with business. Yes, with business, but we don't want it to be Times Square, all lit up. So this historical landmark committee here is very important. They are protecting the historical Fulton market. They are needed, but they also need to educate the greater public to what's going on. Signage is very important, and sometimes it's good to don't have any sign. That's advertisement. And we don't want our historical places to look like Times Square, all lit up. I don't see anything so tasteful about that sign. I'm entitled to my opinion. This is a living classroom right here. Advertisement. You see me all painted up? Now, somebody say, are you going to go to the White House all painted up? Presentation is very important. So again, they are here to protect our historical landmark buildings, and to the extent of even signage. We don't want it all lit up. Mr. Blakemore, you're repeating yourself. I'm educating the general public by using this iPhone. I have my own media. So, sir, it's very important for you and this committee to do your job and to get these political hats. The alderman is not here. The young man is here. Everybody want to advertise. So I'm telling you, this committee is so important that it deals with signage too. They don't want it all lit up. You just can't come and put any sign you want up on a historical landmark building. Thank you very much, sir, for allowing me to speak. You're doing your job. I am the public, and we must all recognize the public because you are serving the public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blakemore. No one else has signed up to speak on this item, so I'd like to close public comment and call on any final discussion on this item.
I've got one kind
Yes.
of question. Just looking at the, kind of clip, system that projects above the sign. Is there any chance, I mean, right now it's just showing as just kind of, I guess, an aluminum. Is there any chance that that can be finished to try to match what I assume is the darker metal coping material at the building, try to make that blend in a little bit more?
No, that's a good point.
It's minor, but if that could be done, I mean, I think, even for how it may age over time, it'll help it disappear.
Yeah, we could add that as a condition.
Yeah.
So I would say that the metal support should be painted or colored to match the color of the coping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? We have a amended motion on the table.
Yeah, sure. We're here. No, I mean, overall, I think my thought along with this, it's not just to make a sign that conforms to every other sign that's, you're trying to make your building stand out. The only thing I'm just noticing is that this is a signage to label an office building for presumably people who are coming to work during the day. You want to identify this as a commercial building for offices. It's not really attracting people to the building at nighttime because of Live Nation. Live Nation has other business at night. So it seems a little bit funny to me to bother with having an illuminated sign when something that is white on brick would do perfectly well in the daytime. So this kind of stands out a bit. And I get that the branding of Live Nation is kind of an evening event thing. It looks like, something is happening, but it also kind of feels like an odd decision when you're trying to put signage on an office building during the day. But that's maybe more of a gripe than it is a correction to anything. So maybe just as looking at the future of signage in Fulton Market, thinking about use when in terms of kind of evaluating the signage would be important going forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubin. Any follow-ups on that?
No, I think it's a good point. As we were looking at some of the images, I saw, down at one of the storefront canopies, there's like the Chase sign, and of course they've got their full color logo. But I think, there was the Google sign that was there. It makes it a little bit more digestible because it's kind of the white, it's a little bit cleaner, but thin line between, businesses being able to show their branding. So I understand where you're coming from, kind of a little bit of a gripe, but maybe a topic for greater discussion.
Yeah, I might actually hand it to Mr. Blakemore here that, something like a Times Square, the whole point of it is illuminated commercial signage at night. And that's not necessarily the character that the Fulton Market District has been created to do. Maybe time will tell, but at this particular moment, it's going for a different character than something like Times Square. So I do appreciate the public comments. They are validated and we're listening to them. And again, it's not looking to change anything about this sign in particular, just kind of looking holistically at the district and kind of thinking about what do we want this to evolve into over time.
I think with Times Square more dynamic, with the halo that it's subtle, we could, I did the mandalas over there, WPP. So that's what's in the area. And that's Landmark does not allow anything facelit to begin with. So
Yeah.
we just try to keep it subtle. And
Yeah.
we could change the Kelvin, the temperature to more of a warmer versus cool, if that's a thing.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm not accusing it
Yeah.
of being Times Square whatsoever. It's kind of looking just kind of broadly what is the district in the daytime, what is it in the nighttime, how does it evolve from one to the other, and how do you kind of serve the community the best way? But yeah, maybe making a warmer tone instead of a brighter tone could help.
I believe, because this district has its own set of guidelines that
Yeah.
dynamic displays, like flashing lights and screens are already prohibited in this district.
No, that's a good point. Um, I have similar feelings about it as well, you know, the cabinet. And
Yeah.
we could approve it.
Yeah.
So I think
I also agree.
the two, probably additions. One is to, paint the support metal to match the metal of the coping at the building. And then I think the other just to have noted is if there is anything that can be done with the color temperature of the lighting, potentially going for more of a warmer, light level or light color, I should say.
yeah, we could do a 5,000 Kelvin versus 6,500.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I
kind of
think
in the middle.
that's reasonable.
Not too antique, but
Yeah. We don't want to get you too low, 4,000, so things like that. Sure.
Is that something that you have to have pre-made that way, or is it something that you could change after?
they come at that Kelvin temperature.
come at
already,
that.
Yeah. They're not adjustable. They're just, and we'll dimmer on as well. I think dimmer, right? Yeah.
I appreciate your
Yeah.
flexibility and understanding on that.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Thank you. Well,
I think with that, I'd be, in support of moving with those two, amendments to the recommendation. If we're
Okay.
at that point.
So we have a amended motion on the table, commissioners. Do we understand what they are? The color,
Yeah.
temperature?
I think you mentioned the lumens. You'd have to repeat that one more time for me to get it exactly right. But
the
Color temperature?
Yeah, the color
Kelvins.
Kelvin temperature, yeah.
Kelvins. Sorry.
what Commissioner Fair said.
I think lumens are more of like a light measure.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So
And then the bracket to match the metal of the coping. So there's a motion on the table, commissioners. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Ponce. Commissioner Rubin
Yes.
is a yes. I'm a yes. The motion carries unanimously. So thank you for your flexibility with us.
thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
That motion carries unanimously, and we are at the end of our agenda, and we are there being no further business. I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Commissioner Fair, second. All those in favor?
I
Aye. Thank you all. Happy New Year.